My name is Jack Montemeat, and I'm an elected artist here at Lime Art Association, and I thought it'd be fun to show you. I brought in the first time I ever showed here, which was in the spring of 2001. It was actually, it wasn't called this, but it was actually the 100th annual exhibition, and I wouldn't have known that at the time. I didn't know anything really about the history of Lime Art Association at that time, but I was really excited to get a few pieces in the show, and I just remember this still life right here of some fruit was showing. It hung in the what's the Cooper Ferry Gallery there, and it's always a good memory. So I always thought that was great about Lime Art Association, is that you can basically just become a member right away and start showing pretty much that day, you know. And I happen to remember that I don't think it was this piece, but the other piece I put in sold during that exhibition. So I thought that was kind of amazing. So and I've been showing here for 21 years or so, and as I say, became an elected artist in 2005. Some other elected artists were actually pushing me to apply, and also been been teaching classes in the studio downstairs pretty much full-time since 2009 or so. I actually taught my first class here in 2002, but started a regular Monday morning class in about 2009, 2010, and have had that going ever since with models, posing, you know, working from life. So one of the things I find very interesting about Lime Art Association is basically how long the history actually is. I grew up here in Old Lyme, so I've been living here for 40-something years, at least 40 years. And actually, when I was a kid, I used to drive by Lime Art Association, you know, multiple times a day, but didn't have any idea about the history of the place until I became involved. And one of the fun things I find is this is one I recently found online that I bought, a catalog from 1924, and it's interesting seeing the old catalogs. It's a lot of fun. So 1924, that would have been the fourth exhibition here in the new gallery. The first one was 1921. Well, the first exhibition in 1921, that would have been actually called the 20th annual exhibition. And so that brings you back to 1902, which the history of the Lime Art Association actually begins in 1902 with the first exhibition at the Phoebe Griffin Noyes Library. And sometimes I like to just pop in there and see the old room in which the exhibition was displayed. And at that time in 1902, it was just a tonalist exhibition. It was actually part of a larger exhibition of antiques and like curios, they called it. And most of the antiques were actually upstairs in the library, but downstairs they had paintings. And it was the Ladies Library Association that asked the artist to hold an exhibition for the benefit of the library. And pretty much the Lime Art Association grew out of that. So by the time this gallery opened in 1921, that was the 20th annual exhibition. So it's always a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun to see the names of great artists of the past who showed here. Seeing like Guy Wiggins, and I always love some of these American Impressionists like William Chadwick and Harry Hoffman. Anyway, the names go on and on. So.